Well, you are listening to the Co-Founders Corner. I can't even say it right. This is Scott Albright and Keilli. Hello.
Hi, Scott.
You are a co-founder of Winds of Praise.
Yes, I am.
29 years
Yep.
ago. And we have a special guests, Kim and Troy Meeder. You've got us trumped by 31 years on the ranch.
Just barely. Good on you, though.
We're just older than you.
So you are from the Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch in close to Sisters, between Bend and Sisters, and it's on fire right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How did you make it here?
You drive through the smoke and head west and look for cooler weather.
Welcome to the coast.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You.
They're getting the fires under control. And stuff,
I left Idaho in 1979 during an ice storm, and I got to the coast to Newport, and I go, "Oh, the storm's over." Then I realized, no, it just doesn't get that cold here.
It doesn't get
Right.
that cold. Yeah.
Right. It's a different climate for sure.
Yeah, you always have that ocean breeze, and
Yeah.
so I'm glad to live here.
And we were newlyweds in Bend. We moved to Bend.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
We were kind of, I was basically raised on the coast, but we thought, after we get married, I'd kind of like to be a pioneer. And he heard about a Christian radio station over there, and that's where we went for 2.5
KNLR?
years.
KSBC,
KSBC.
Wow.
Okay.
Sunshine Broadcasting.
Yeah.
And so we first lived in Redmond, and then moved to Bend before the winter hit. So yeah, we've experienced that. I got tired of having to bail my car out of snow and ice because it happened. And the reason we moved from Redmond is I found out that the water source was an above ground cistern with cows in the field.
Oh,
That
no.
was how they did it back then. Yeah, I remember those days. You drank out of the irrigation canal.
So I didn't
They
say
don't do that
anything
anymore now.
until we moved.
Yeah.
And then I said, by the way, because I knew that she wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we found a place that had heat down below, and the landlords it was their duty to stoke the fire. So it was an old coal burner stove
Wow.
around Drake Park,
Oh, wow.
the Congress Street Apartments. I don't know if you know that.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't
That's where
believe
we
it's
lived.
there now. Those Congress Street apartments are probably condominiums that are $1 million a piece now.
No.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy down there.
We lived on Jefferson Place.
Yep.
And it was for sale, and we used to rent it for like pennies. And we were just curious, how much is that for sale? And it was like $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Things have changed.
So you guys from the youth ranch, you started out with 9 acres. So tell us about that, because isn't it 99 acres now?
A little over 105. Yeah, you're really close. Yeah.
Only Jesus.
Yeah.
Only Jesus.
So when we first started out, Troy and I lived in downtown Bend on Aubrey Butte, and we were both working many jobs, and we were both volunteering at a youth group, and we would come home and our house would be full of high school kids, and all the food's gone and the television's on and the house is all tore up, and we loved working with kids, but we also needed a place that was quiet to come home and recover and rest. So we made the decision to sell our home in town and move out into the country to live a quieter life.
Which was really country back then.
It was country back then, but I laugh that it's to live a quieter life, and boy, did God have different plans.
God was just laughing and saying, you go ahead and believe that as long as it makes you happy.
And so now, 31 years later, we have a staff of, I think, 22, and we still see about 6,000 kids a year, visitors a year, and Kim mentioned earlier that we have 30 plus horses. I mean, it's just what God can do when you say, okay.
It's like an oasis.
Yeah.
It's like
thank you.
a Garden of Eden right now.
Thank you.
And it started out as a cinder pit, literally. You could afford 9 acres.
Of demolition site. Right.
Wow.
And when
I
we
can
say
just
destroyed, it was being mined for cinder, which is volcanic glass. And destroyed means no trees, no grass, no dirt, just a hole of rock. That's what we bought.
Wow.
I remember looking at Kim going, we spent our life savings on a rock pit. what in the heck were we doing?
How did it get to be over 100 acres?
Well, we had no idea what God, and I think this is part of when we look back on our life, that, and for someone listening, we just had no idea what God was going to do. And it was all about taking that next step. And Kim called and we rescued a horse, and then we brought them home, and then we started filling the pit full of manure and stall shavings, whatever we could find to bring organic material. And it just was little, it isn't like it happened overnight. And that God's plan, he's super patient, and he wants us so much. Will you just trust me for the next step? His word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And in the Hebrew, the light is just the next step. It's not way out in front. It's just that next step. And here we are 31 years later. We have 105 acres. We have 3 ranches. And it's like only God can. We didn't do a thing. We just showed up and worked hard, and God did everything else.
The pastor that I took his place, he was a famous wrestling coach, and he passed away. That's how I became pastor. Now I'm a retired pastor. But he used to say to his kids, 2 things I require: show up and do your best.
Yeah.
So good. We showed up and did our best for 18 years, and on 9 acres, all the buildings started getting taller and taller. We couldn't go out. We had like ranch muffin top, and we just needed more space. And on one of our refuge nights, Troy and I share speaking, and I'd spoken that night, and this little group had come down from Washington, and Miss Kim, we're a 4-H group, and we had a bake sale, and we wanted to bring you the money and come and volunteer. I mean, the kindness of people is overwhelming. And so after refuge was over, there were several hundred people that were leaving the main ranch. It's up on a hill. And I was sitting on the fence, and all these little girls are around me and asking all the little girl questions, and this horse, and how do you get that scar, and how come that one's eye's missing? And finally I said, oh my goodness, you girls, you can't drive all the way back to Washington State tonight. Where are you going to spend the night? And this little girl right in front of me, she hugs herself and she said, we're going to be camping, and it's going to be really cold. And I looked at her and I said, I think a time is coming when we're going to have enough space so that when groups like you come, you can stay with us. Wouldn't that be nice? And in this sea of people moving behind her that are leaving the ranch, one individual stopped and turned right at my face, looking right at me. And I saw it. They just stopped in this flowing stream and stared at me. And that individual called me the next day and said, I have to talk to you right away. And my first thought was, oh no, I'm going to go to the principal's office again, because I spoke that night. And this is a dear friend and someone I know well. And we finally met in Troy's office, and I'm thinking, why? What's the urgency? Finally, they sat there and talked for 45 minutes about a trip to Israel. And by now, smoke's coming out of my ears. Why? Just tell me why. And finally, they just talked themselves out of words and said, you know what? Last Tuesday night, when I heard you say that you needed more room, that's when God told me I'm going to be the one to provide it for you. And they reached in their pocket and pulled out a real estate flyer that I know by heart, and they laid it on Troy's desk and tapped it with their finger and said, yeah, so God's telling me to buy this for you. And then they wrote a check for the entire purchase amount, paid in full. This is how God works. When he is in it, he will provide. That's his job. Our job is, as Troy said, and as you said, Scott, to show up and do your best.
Yeah, do the best.
And he's the one who does what only he can do. And that's happened to us over and over and over.
One of my greatest life lessons was from Dr. Dobson. He came to the ranch and did a radio broadcast from the ranch. And I'll never forget that incredible, stately gentleman. He sat with me and we were talking, and I wanted to ask him questions, founder to founder, that how do you do this? That focus is so big, and it's such an incredible ministry global, and we're just growing, and there are days when there just isn't enough month left. There's too much month and not enough paycheck left to make it happen. And he looked at me and he got real quiet and he smiled. He said, well, is it for you? Is it yours or is it God's? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch, is it yours or is it God's? And I kind of laughed and I thought, in my pride, I would say, yeah, I built it. But then it was like, no, this is not mine at all. This belongs to Jesus. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, this is the Lord's. And he laughed and he said, well, then you don't have a problem. If you don't have enough money in the bank, that's God's problem. And you can tell him, hey, listen, you started this thing, so this is up to you, whether it keeps on going. And I don't say that in a weird, negative way. It's just this releasing that my eyes are on him, no matter what it is. If it's a bad marriage or a bad business thing, or I'm out, or we're not going to make the mortgage. God, this belongs to you and you alone. And if you're in it, you'll provide for it. And if you don't, you got a different direction. And we're just going to follow you. We're just going to jump in and go with you. I don't have a problem, Jesus. You do. And you don't have problems.
Right. You're God. You don't have problems.
That's right.
That is so funny. You should bring up Dr. Dobson, because I was just thinking of him, because I've seen the video of him visiting and getting on a horse.
Yes.
He is the one man I very much want to meet in heaven, and just, he helped me through so much
you
in
will
parenting.
Love him.
He is all
He's
that.
like a stately senator. He was just an amazing human being.
Yeah.
Just
kind guy.
pure-hearted and loving
deeply
people.
missed.
Yeah, deeply missed.
Yeah. Him and Ronald Reagan. I want to.
You can't say that.
That's okay. Of course you do. No, I totally agree. That's great.
Kim, and you don't need to go. Please don't feel any pressure. But will you be telling your testimony of how your life has been changed by the tragedy that happened in your life as a child at Powwow?
Well, you're asking about something that already happened.
Yeah.
So the Powwow Church was Sunday.
Okay.
So this is the co-founder's corner.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
Tell us about your life.
Yeah.
So my life is that I would not have life if it wasn't for the redeeming love of Jesus Christ. And something that is near and dear to my heart of late is the human journey from hurt to healing to hope. Mm-hmm. And that can only happen through Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Everything else is a counterfeit. Everything else is window dressing and fake. Mm-hmm. That God's word says that there's one name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. And Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father but through me. And apart from Jesus, we have no good thing. And that hurt, healing, and hope happened in my life all at the same time. Everyone's journey toward knowing or rejecting the freedom of Jesus Christ, our whole life boils down to that singular decision. And that decision is unique and different in everyone's lives. And in my life, those three things collided in a moment when I was 9 years old. And at 9, that's when I wanted to be everything that my parents were. I loved my parents. My mom was beautiful inside and out, and my dad was a wild child of the wilderness, and I thought he wore a cape and could fly. And I grew up in the presence of their love. And it was during that time that family members came and collected me and my 2 older sisters and drove in silence a road to my grandparents' house, and no one would speak. And I knew that something terrible had happened. And we got to the house, and there were cars all over. And for the first time in my young life, I didn't want to go in a home where I only ever felt love, because I was afraid. And I was just pushed in by my shoulders and to the arms of a lady I recognized. I didn't know her name. And the house was full of all these distraught people. And this lady was crying so hard she could hardly speak. And she was weeping, and she just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to tell you. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Your dad has just murdered your mother and taken his own life. And I'm so sorry. And I remember looking at her and thinking, what? My dad loves my mom and he loves me. He would never do that. You're a liar. and just pushed off her chest and broke out of her arms and ran out the door and just ran and ran and ran in this child's effort to outrun the unthinkable, and fell down in the dirt, and I could hear myself saying, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. I didn't even know who Jesus was. I was not raised in the church. I was not raised to be anything that I can recall at that age. I didn't know the authority of Romans chapter 1 that declares everyone who's ever lived has the ability to know the one true God. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the authority of Romans 10:13 that declares everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved.
Power.
Right.
Jesus.
All I knew was in that moment, he came. Mm-hmm. And he's not a religion. He's a hymn. Yeah. And there was a change in my heart and this pop of ignition of hope and a knowing I was not alone, and I could hear this being cast over me. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. You will live. You will survive. Everything's going to be okay. You'll see. You'll see. And that was the moment that I met Jesus Christ, and that my heart was redeemed.
Cry out to Jesus.
Yes.
I think of a song.
That song.
Yeah. Cry out to Jesus. Kim, you've authored 6 books, and what is that book that they can read more about your testimony? I'll put you on the spot here.
I think there are elements of my testimony in all the books.
There are. It's a wonderful.
Yes, all 6 of them.
Yeah, they're really good. I have some favorite stories, but Keilli, it's your turn.
Of Kim's?
Well, one that I didn't mention was the time when you saw a funny little man kind of staring at you, and he came up to you.
Oh my!
And he turned out to be
not who I thought.
Right. He came up to both of you.
Yes.
Kim and Troy Meeder.
I just shared that at a refuge and just wept at what a powerful moment that was.
No, I don't.
Could you tell us that?
Yeah. I mean, we had gone to this incredible place to speak for a couple of weeks, and it was one of those schedules where, Scott, you just night after night after night, day after, we had double booking sometimes during the day. And at the very end of it, we were going to this huge mega church, wonderful place. And I'm going to let Kim take the story from there because she's such a good storyteller. But I do want to come back at the end because there was something as a man
yes,
that I will never forget. And so, babe, please take us from there.
So during this event, the fatigue was really high and the attack from the enemy was ferocious.
Yeah.
And without highlighting the work of the enemy, it was made very clear to us that we were not welcome. And even though we'd been invited there, that our presence there had created this great conflict and this great rift, and it doesn't bear even explaining, other than it was heartbreaking to see God's people at war with each other over details. Yeah. And so we were hired to do a job, and we've been invited to come and share the redeeming love of Jesus. And I got up and shared with all the passion that this heart can hold. And I was told ahead of time that, Kim, when you're done sharing, then I think Troy was going to speak after me.
Wrap it up,
and then we're going to invite people to come forward. And that's not what happened. No invitation was given. It just turned into this weird game show, giveaway prizes and things.
It was an enormous gathering. There was probably maybe 1,000 people in the room. And so it was just this wonderful opportunity.
And it turned out to not be for Jesus at all.
Yeah.
It was this big popularity thing, and no invitation to know Jesus was ever given. And my heart just crashed. I was so brokenhearted that Jesus didn't endure the cross for us to stay stuck in junk and in lies and in human selfishness. And I was so sad, and everybody was released to go outside in this very warm environment, and it was like a big party outside, and all the food and all the drinks, and we were surrounded by this giant crush of people, and one after another wanted to come and tell me about themselves. Not one person asked if I would pray with them. Not one. And my heart just feels like it's breaking in that, is there not one person who heard what I said about the redeeming love of Jesus Christ and wants his freedom? And there was like 6 or 7 people deep, and that's when I noticed this young man standing back. He was my size or a little smaller, and he had black curly hair and dark eyes and dark skin, and he was simply dressed, shorts, leather sandals, leather backpack, and he just locked eyes with me, and he smiled, and I smiled at him, and he waited and waited and waited until finally I got through all the people that just wanted to tell me about themselves. And I thought, what could it be in this man's life? What could be so important to him that he would wait this long to speak with me?
And Kim and I were back to back. I was the other direction, we're just talking to people.
Wow.
And this man stepped forward, and there was something about his eyes that were just laser-like. And then he did something that has never happened in my life before or since. He reached out and he took my hand and cupped it in his, and he said, "My name is Jason." And then he let go of my hand, and he put his hand behind my hair on the base of my neck. It was very noisy, and pulled me so that my ear was right next to his mouth in this most tender, gentle embrace. And so his lips are right by my ear. And all he said is, "I've been sent to thank you for speaking on behalf of our King."
On behalf of what?
Our King. I've been sent to thank you for speaking on behalf of our King. And I just started to cry. And he pulled back. We were 12 inches apart, and he's just lasering into my eyes. And it was like I was being welded. And everything in my heart that was broken rushed back into place and became stronger. And I tapped Troy, whose were back to back, and I turned around and I wanted to introduce Troy, and somebody, I said, "Troy, turn around, I have somebody to introduce you, this is Jason." And then I watched this very small man do exactly the same thing to my husband.
Go ahead.
And somebody ran into us, and they were very apologetic. We turned around and, oh, it's no problem. There's a zillion people. And we turned back to engage Jason, and he was gone.
He was gone.
And Troy and I looked at each other, and I reached for Troy's hand, and he turned and started to move like a linebacker through this crowd, and he's just like trying to find the gaps, and we're going toward the car. We've got to go. We've got to get out of here. And I'm just crouched down behind him. My husband's a big man, and so mincing steps, bigger strides, we finally break out into a run. We go out into the parking lot. We run all the way through the parking lot to the car, jump in the car, and turn around and look at each other, and we say at the same time, "Do you think he was real?" And we're just talking over each other at the same time. And I said, "Oh my goodness, that his eyes and who he was and his hair, and that only a brother like that would I ever feel safe, that he was smaller than me, to allow him to touch me that way and feel gentle and not odd."
Yeah.
And Troy's like, "What?"
I said, "What are you talking about?"
Size-wise,
She's
tall.
5'9", I'm 6'3".
Okay, there you go.
So I'm 6'3", and she says, "Troy, this is Jason." And I turn around, and this guy's 7 feet tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6".
But yet to you, he was lower.
Correct.
A little bit smaller.
A little smaller. And so here's this huge man, reaches out, same thing, grabs my hand, draws me in, which I would never let anybody do, especially a guy. I mean, what's going on here? And he puts his hand behind my neck, draws me close, same thing. And I thought, don't fight him. He'll kick your butt. And so he draws me in, whispers in my ear. He said to her, thank you for speaking on behalf of our King. He said to me, thank you for speaking on behalf of our Jesus. Releases me, looks into my eyes. Kim's exactly right. We get bumped by people, and he's gone.
Wow. Exact same man.
Exact same man, but in a situation where, as a big man that I am, it's like, no, I need to let him do this because he's a mountain of a man. Handsome, stubble, dark eyes, black hair, Jewish.
7 foot tall.
6'5" at least, you know.
So Troy saw a big brother, and I encountered a little brother.
Yeah.
And I encountered a man who was gentle and humble and safe. And Troy encountered a man who was big and powerful. And had authority.
Yeah.
And it was the same man.
Same man.
And we encountered him in exactly the way we needed to receive a message from Jesus. Don't you ever quit.
Yep. Don't you ever quit.
Don't you
I've got
ever
you.
quit.
I'm with you. I will never leave you. In fact, I'm going to send someone to remind you who you are. And it was like we had reached the very bottom of being able to do what God had called us to do. And in an instant, Jesus said, oh, don't worry, I've got this. In fact, I'm going to send someone to remind you of who you are.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Never forget it. I mean, it's years ago, and I still weep when I think about it.
Kim, I have to ask you, what book is that story in?
Encountering Our Wild God.
Okay. Yes.
Which is one of the most recent, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've
number
read that.
5
Yeah.
Yeah.
of the 6. Yes.
Well, I'm reaching a milestone birthday, and I have read that book, but I don't recall that story. So it's just
So hopefully
me.
you got one.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for
Yes.
giving us an opportunity to recount something only God could do
Yeah.
as a very, very personal.
Well, there's stories that unending stories. Every book is wonderful.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And there's so many that I would like you to tell, but we simply don't have the time. Where could people get in touch with Refuge?
So obviously, Refuge is a part of Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch.
Yeah.
Super simple, Scott. www.cpyr.org. And Refuge is the second Tuesday of the month. Every month it's in our barn, and it's so much fun to just feed people and worship and share God's
We
word.
were there before it was finished, even.
Oh my gosh, you've got to come back.
Oh, we've seen it.
You got to
Yes.
come
We've
back.
seen it.
Yeah.
You've been back,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we got the tour.
Wow. Thank you so much. It is always such a delight to get to be with you both.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, you're listening to Co-Founders Corner. This is Scott Albright and Keilli Albright, and our special guest, Kim and Troy Meeder from the Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch. And they were our special guest at the powwow on Sunday. So you can't, if you didn't go, you missed it.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, 10 to 11. So, you want to pray before we say goodbye?
I would love to. Thank you. Father, there's somebody listening that needed to hear from you today. I pray for that man. I lift that man up to you, and I pray, Jesus, that in this moment that you would remind him as a dad, as a husband, as a son, a brother, that his eyes need to be fixed on the one that's given him life. And that in this moment you would remind him of who he is as a creation that you made him to be. Father, thank you for Scott and Keilli, that they share the word of Jesus Christ, the love of Jesus in this place. I pray you'd bless them. Thank you for life. Thank you for breath. Thank you for the joy that is the hope to come for all of us. In your precious name, amen.
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 Thank you, guys.
You bet.
All right.
Thank you.